House of Rest. All right, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to House of Rest, where we're in a good season and time to be
alive.
Hey, I said I'm gonna start saying welcome to House of Rest, where Yahusha the King has brought everyone to life something. No, I'm just messing around. But anyways, guys, we're gonna have a good show this week. We'll be minding Sean, so y'all keep him in prayer. Got some personal stuff going on, but of course we're gonna miss our brother. Now, today, guys, I prayed about it, and it was just highly in my ruach to bring back this topic because we touched on it last week, but last week and this week and the week before that, it's just so much stuff going on in the current events. I think we kind of allowed current events to overtake the show last week, which fine. We talked about a good hour and some change about the alien disclosure, but we didn't get into a whole lot of it. So I would like to let let everybody, hear how your week been or whatever, what you got going on. But let's touch on this topic tonight and get into some of the juicy details, because people here has had dreams about these entities that will be in place sooner or later. And then some of us have been given revelation, and then also some of us have just been revealed through scripture, these little areas where they be using subliminal messages to tell us, and not in scripture, but on movies and different things like that. And you wonder why they come out with so much, and then they call it what? Sci-fi, like as if it's fictional and it's not real. So that way, when it does happen, they're just basically getting our minds. What you call the word where they program constantly dials you with it until But first I want to say Shabbat Shalom to all my brothers and sisters over here. Shabbat Shalom, Michael Cole, Brother Mecker, Sister Amanda, brother and sister Sharp, Auntie, hello, Sister Flowers. Who else we got on here? I don't see. Shabbat Shalom, Lee and Tameka.
Hey, Tara. How you feeling? Hey. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How y'all doing? Good to see everyone. Glad to see everybody still alive.
Hallelujah. Yeah, guys, I saw Sister Tara over in the comments. I said, okay, guys, time to wrap it up. We gotta go. I ain't seen much this all week. I got to stop so we can holler at her. And she being a soldier right now, guys. So continue to keep her lifted up in prayer. Because it's a struggle, to go through what she's going through. But we know that the Most High got her. And all of us here, right? All of us here, I'm talking about you guys over in chat too, got her back. So, Tara, don't ask if you need help, holler at us. We will be willing. I put Tameka on the plane and send up that to you.
Oh man,
I'm serious now.
Yeah, we're here for everybody. I mean, anyway, it's on here. As part of the body, we help each other out. I might be a finger where Tara could be a toe. So
right now, that's real talk.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to function. You think of a performance athlete or a high performance car. All the pieces have to be working together for it to work in sync and for it to be fully functional. So, with all of our brothers and sisters out there, we're here for you guys. All right, Tara. How about I'm gonna call her the eyeball. An eyeball. I give her.
That's a good one though.
Yeah,
the eyeball. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big.
The toe is important too, though.
Yeah,
that's right. Cause you hit that pinky toe or stomping on something, man. Your whole leg going down. Your body feels so weak.
Limping around.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, we're here for everybody. If anybody needs anything and the spirit leads, then we're gonna go. You know, if Brother Wesley told me, "Hey Lee, I need you here," you better believe I'm gonna. You know, if he says something like that, you know something's up, and so you gotta do everything you can, your power, to get out there if it's Lord willing. So just so everybody on there knows that, and we're not only for physically, but it's in prayer too.
That's right now. Oh man, we got your back. Hallelujah. Anybody need anything, we here for you, you know, in prayer, in spirit, and we can be there naturally. Hallelujah.
Wow.
The butt cheek.
B said, I don't get no respect here. Dang. Nah, brother. Hey. Oh, Nikki, stop it.
Man, I can't wait till all of us meet each other. Man, we're gonna be climbing around. Ooh, man, we're gonna be climbing. Hallelujah. Yeah, I'm just so happy to see everybody's face. And welcome to HouseofRest, Brother Michael. We saw you on here last night. Don't mind us, we like just having fun, but we also love Yahoo first. So we have fun. That's awesome. That we take up the characteristics of our Father. We joyful, we happy. So don't mind us, brother.
I mean, enjoy. We had to be able to enjoy what he has placed before us. We don't just we like to bring the scripture. We like to talk about current events, but most of all, we like to enjoy one another's company. That's the purpose of coming together and doing these, is so that we can enjoy one another and just have that fellowship outside of the cares of the world, because it's so much happening. It's so much happening on a daily basis, which, guys, guess what? We gotta wear a mask in the state of North Carolina now. And it seems like it is spreading like a wildfire throughout the United States. And for some reason, guys, it's just been this is some negative. The atmosphere is negatively charged, and so you could feel it, and you could tell it's around, because it's trying to mess with not only my emotions, but I'm pretty sure a couple of y'all have been feeling the same way, and it's just because of the heightened senses of the Ruach HaKodesh. And so we had to recognize, when the spiritual realm is in disarray the way that it is, our spiritual senses are heightened, and so what else is heightened is the flesh. And so the flesh is able to feed off of the emotions of others and the things that you see happening worldwide. So we have to now more than ever, I ain't saying seclude yourself forever, but it's time to go into that secret place, you know what I mean, and just talk to y'all. If you have a brother or sister that you could, I think me and Lee is each other's support throughout the week with hectic weeks. Nikki, it's certain people that I converse with throughout the whole week. And nothing against nobody else. It's just we have like this little, where we send each other videos or messages and stuff like that. And if you want to be on the hot list, hey, just reach out. I will get back with you. I love fellowship with my brothers and sisters. I try to make sure that I reach out. Brother Melker, me and him, at times he send me like pictures of cars that he done paint, and guys, he does a great job. Like does a great job. So it wasn't surprising to me, and I think he's like a jack of all trades too, because he be sending me food, he be cooking. I'd be like, got to go to Louisiana. Oh, we got
Shalom, Magdalene.
Yes, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so she said, yes, the third time the atmosphere has been brought up in 24 hours. There's definitely a lot going on. But let's talk about this, guys. Last week, we talked about going on Sunday when they were supposed to do their march on the 21st. We got to bring that up, guys. Last Friday, we said, hey, every time zone, we're going to blow the shofar. I was at work and I was blowing that shofar. I brought my mini shofar to work with me. And I was blowing that thing, and I tried to make sure I sent out as many messages as I could to whomever, but to see to get the message that they canceled it, man, y'all. I mean, we know that Yahusha has the victory, but tell me that don't make you feel good to know that you was a part of something that just it transcended time and space. It went out. It opened. The windows of heaven was open, and it heard the cries of the humble. The and not only that, the war cry, Rock Kazak Kamatz.
Hallelujah.
Rock Kazak Kamatz. We did something to me that should have just it should have just jump started a lot of people's faith that that fire ought to be a flame. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, Wes, when you was talking about the atmosphere, it has been a lot of things going on in different people's atmosphere, because a lot of different women's been talking about headaches. A lot of marriages has been talking about they arguing within their home. These are believers arguing with each other inside their homes. And I haven't mean more Wes in a long time. He told me I've been mean mugging all day. And I'm like, I didn't even know I had this frown on my face all day. And so I had to, reevaluate myself and put myself in check and, go into prayer, because, you never know how the atmosphere will change you as far as a person, because you don't know unless someone else pointed out to you.
Right.
Or either Yahoo, he let you know, he talked to you. But yes, it's been a lot of things going on in the atmosphere where we must keep each believer in prayer, encourage each other in this time, in this season, call each other, check up on each other, because it's a lot of things going on and some stuff in the store happening. So we must really keep each other in prayer and talk to each other each and every day and pray for each other.
I mean,
some things is about to happen.
Because at the same time, shalom, Sister Lupe. Thank you for my devotional today.
Oh yes, thank you.
And the song too. The seed of Israel. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
But guys, real talk. I've been asked a couple times, have Yah said anything to me about just going anywhere? And honestly, I have not been given any information to go right now. Is actually been kind of like just be still. Don't right now, man. Tameka is up in talks about whether we want to stick to the apartment we're at, or we want to try to get like something that me and Lee discussed. He sent me like a little small trailer home. Hey, I'm totally willing to convert over. I mean, shoot, all I need to make sure I do is have a liable place to take me to a good shower. Oh, hold on, they got showers in there, don't they? You need to just pay for lot.
Your home also.
Huh?
You can travel around them little miniature home. You can drive.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but I haven't really been given any info.
Yeah.
And right now it's just like, continue. I'm just continue to pray. See, she said I'm hunkering in my home, and so that's what I'm gonna do. And so that's just to answer a couple of questions to some that been asking. I also get emails about stuff like this, so it's like, yes, we see the things happening and getting crazy, but I don't think it has reached its boiling point yet. I think there is a lot more stuff that has to happen.
Yeah.
And guys, I've been sitting back and something came back to my remembrance when I was in 8th grade. My teacher, I don't even remember how she did this, but she broke it down. Like, and I gotta go back and look up all the years that presidents were assassinated. It was a cycle, she said. Kind of like I think she said between every 50 and 100 years or something like that.
Yeah,
and so that would put Trump in line for the or the next whoever gonna be in that line for that next assassination that would supposedly happen. But I believe it's a Illuminati trick.
Yeah, then every 100 years, I think it's been a Republican in office too, if I'm not mistaken. I seen that. I had it on the picture, and I deleted it off my phone because I thought we were gonna talk about it. And I just deleted it off my phone. But yeah, it's every 100 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have kept that picture.
Okay. Okay. She said, "Is that Nikki?" Okay, that's okay. That's Nikki and Brian. All right, throw it to us, sister. We'll be waiting on it. What am I to say here? RV life. Yeah, yeah. I mean, exactly. I think now more than ever. I think now more than ever is the time to be doing a commission. Um,
Yep.
and telling people, I mean, because right now more than ever, I ain't gonna say put it like this, people are open to hearing,
Yep.
because right now they're looking at dying carnally. But if they understand that, because think about it like this, guys, and I can't remember who it was I heard say it, but I living in our eternal life, guys, that changed my way of thinking in these last week or so. You know what I mean? Like, wow, hold on. So death isn't even an obstacle to us anymore. It is, and so I went and I found it in Isaiah where it said, "Oh, death, where is thy sting?" It's like he's like he's just picking at death now. Like, oh, death, where is thy sting? Like, you can't do nothing to me because we have one that is greater that has already done it. You know what I mean? And he gave us life. And through that life, we have not just any life, but eternal life.
That's right.
And so we're able to walk in his glory, you know what I mean? And it ain't our glory, it's his glory, that others may be see who he is, recognize who he is, that they may have a chance to live in his presence. I mean,
That's right. Amen. Hallelujah. Got anything to say, Lee?
Oh,
You look like you have something to say. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I've always got something to say. It's just, should I say it?
all right.
um, yeah. As far as the Great Commission and what we're supposed to do, even if it's locally or abroad, that's what we're supposed to do, is to proclaim the gospel. That's our commission. That's what we're called to do. And you go out and you might talk to hundreds of people. If only one accepts and makes it into the kingdom, then your life was worth it. Everything you did was worth it. And as far as what happened on the first day of the week last week with the shofar blast and the prayers, we are game changers. We change the atmosphere. And whenever we start getting down about our environment, our situation with work or what have you, we got to keep that in mind and keep the enemy subdued, because we are the game changers. We change the atmosphere. You walk into a room. That's the type of authority that we know we have to be walking with him through.
That's right. Come on.
There's no way around it. And the enemy wants to keep you at bay. He wants to tell you, no, that you're not making a difference. You're not doing what you need to do. All these negative things coming in, because you got to think about it right now more than ever. The enemy's attacking more than he ever has. He's attacking the elect. He's attacking everybody, because he knows his time is short. So everybody just keep that in mind. And I get like that too, to where I'm feeling down, but we are game changers. And the testimony to that was last Sunday when we blew a shofar, and guess what? Things changed. Things totally changed. And everybody that's on here, next time we want it to, if something moves in the spirit, y'all please share. If there's something that you feel needs intercessory prayer mapping, what have you, let us know, and we'll put the word out. I want to, just get the word out. and that way there's strength with the numbers. As far as blowing the shofar, it takes a hand to hold it. It takes a mouth to blow on it. It takes the whole body to stand there and blow that horn. So it's all together, all is one when it comes to that.
Hallelujah.
Amen,
Good breakdown.
Yes. Hallelujah.
So, all right, let's jump into the topic that we'll be talking about is the Watchers. As y'all notice, I changed it a little bit. I decided to add the Watchers and Alien Disclosure in there, and that's because when we think about what is really going or who will really appear, it will not be aliens as per se. Now let's stop thinking just about the gray ones and well, I have seen blue transparent looking ones in my dream, and Tameka had the same type of dream, and then I'm finding out that Tara had the same type of entity in her dream. So I was like, whoa, shalom, Sister Romalia.
Shalom, Romalia.
So what we have to look past is think about these angels, right? That made it with the women of men, right? The daughters of men. They had to come down looking in a sense like me or you, Lee, a humanoid type deal, because they were able to not only seduce the women, but the women also begin to want that sense of power and knowledge that they were given, because we find out in is it Enoch that these entities would go forth to teach the women and man different, how they learned about music, different and they learned different trades, and the how could I put it, the metals, working the metals and war and all types of things were taught that man didn't have no idea about. And even it say the roots, witchcraft was introduced through that. And so what we see coming in this deception will be, they will come down there, look like us, but they're gonna be in a sense saying, hey, you see the ones that keep abducting y'all, we're gonna get rid of them. In all reality, those are it's all a script.
Yeah.
And so when you go to Genesis chapter 6 verse 1, Genesis chapter 6 verse 1, it has a funny breakdown, because I have read this over and over again and yet to have moved on from this area of scripture, because it's so much in the details, where it says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw. Now listen, they saw. And when you look at this word saw, it's the same thing that when Eve saw that the fruit, right? Saw that the fruit. So it was tempting, right? To it. So what are we looking at with these entities? They had not only transform, but they had the will to decide that they didn't want to, serve under Yah anymore, because they was committing a horrible trespass, right? A horrible trespass, to the point where they weren't these things. They made a pact. They were like, hey, listen, I don't want to be the only one in here. Let's make a pact right now that if we're going to do this, we all go all the way, right? And so something that we had to realize is all these watchers that came down at this point in time, they're not all the same as far as the ones that are still roaming around now, because you had a group that came down, that was taken down or brought down when Hasatan was cast out. 1/3 came with him. 200 angels don't make 1/3, people. There's billions of angels up in heaven.
Yeah.
So Hasatan, and so this is why they begin to procreate, right? They learned how to manipulate and gene splice, and this is where we get the eugenics and all this stuff going on, and all the CRISPR If you ain't never heard of CRISPR, look it up. It's a project where they're moving genetics and taking and putting pig organs, like human organs, inside of pigs and watching them develop and grow, growing ears on the backs of mice and things like that. So what we see happening in Genesis 1 is an incursion, right? And this is the one before the flood, but you also had, like I said, the watchers that fell when Hasatan fell. So these are the ones that are still now. I think these are the ones that has no geographic boundaries. They can move all around. They travel and enter in and out of the dimensional rifts. I call them rifts or portals, right? Gates. But look what it says, that the sons of Elohim saw that the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them. Listen to that word. They took them women of all which they chose. Like they went down, it's like they took them and started raping them. You know what I mean? Like they took them. Now I'm gonna pull it up here in the Strongs in a minute. I want to see how that word breaks down. But the way that when I first read it, I was like, wow, did they just go down there and just take them some? You know what I mean? Because the way that it is looking is that they took women, all of which they chose. And Yahuwah said, my Ruach shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Verse 4, there were Nephilim in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men. So it happened before and after, guys. It happened before and after the flood. So we see who do you think David and them were fighting? They weren't fighting no little schoolyard bullies. They were fighting giants.
That's right.
And this is why the 10 spies, when they came back, they were scared. They were scared, and they couldn't function right because they didn't have that 100% trust in Yah like they should have. Now, the awesome thing is I did something. I went and looked up the names of all 12 spies that were picked out, and it's a message in their names if you look at all their names and just put it in the sentence. So I thought that was pretty cool. It basically saying that if Yah is, Yah's gonna go before you, you should have no reason to fear, or something to that degree. And so if Yah is with us, and remember that's what he was constantly telling them, you don't have no need to fear, you have no need to fear, you have no need to fear. And yet they tried to cause the people to fear. And so what we see, or what we will see happening, because guys, have you ever heard of the Solomon Islands? Have you ever heard of Easter Island? Brother Dan, I know you don't heard of it. You know what? Let me see something. You got anything, Lee or Tameka?
No, I'm jiving with you. Go ahead, Tameka, if you have something.
Yeah, when you was talking about Genesis chapter 2, you can also go to Jubilees chapter 7 verses 21. It says, for owing to these things 3 came the flood of earthly name, owing to the fornication. When you look at that word owing to, it's because either the account of to these 3 things came the flood of earth, namely owing to the fornication, wherein the watchers against the Torah, and like you were saying, they went against the Torah of their ordinance, went a whoring after the daughters of men, and took themselves women of all. So when I seen that, I was thinking about, like the female animals also, because it's women of all, and there is bestiality in the land today. So when I was reading that, I was like, whoa, because it wouldn't have said women of all, because you got female cows, you got female chickens. So I think it was talking about all species of female, which they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanness, defilement. So that's when the beginning of it started, when they began to mate with all women of all. So when we look at that today, you see all this going on in the land still today, where that spirit enter into man, and they want to rape horses, they want to rape chickens, they want to rape dogs. So that spirit is still, like Wes was saying, is still roaming around today. You know, and that's why he tell is bestiality is real.
Right.
You have people doing that.
And if you go back and you look at my Days of Noah, that is
Mhm.
part one. I'm supposed to did like a part two, like several years ago. And I never got around to it. I actually go into that discussion of where you get this character Pan, half goat, half man, and then if you read in the book, is it the book of
I
is it in
think
the
it's
book of
Jasher.
Yasher where
Yeah,
where one of the sons of Cain end
yeah,
up fighting like
Jasher.
a half bear, half
Yeah,
man type deal, and
yeah.
then they ran another one encountered
Came out
something
the
that
cave. Something came out the cave.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking about that one, but then there was another one in the woods that came
yeah,
out and it whipped them with the tail or something. It looked like,
yeah.
I don't know, it was weird, but I mean, you have different stories like this in scripture as well, that or the pseudepigrapha that exposes that there were different, half breed
Mm-hmm.
animals and the mixing of different species. And if you really stop and think about Tyrannosaurus Rex, guys, y'all didn't create
I was gonna say that.
he didn't create creatures to eat meat, right? He didn't create just carnivore creatures. His original creation, remember what was the meat? Was the trees and the
Yeah.
stuff of the land. It wasn't meat originally.
Oh man.
And so the Tyrannosaurus Rex, it kind of goes against the nature of the creation of things that y'all created. Because think about it, it has deformed arms. It can't, its
Mm-hmm.
arms are little bitty, has big hind type legs, and then it has the big old head with the sharp teeth.
And then that go. Oh, I'm sorry. That goes
Yeah.
with Jubilees chapter 7, verse 22, and it said, they begot sons, the Nephilim, and they were all unlike, not equal. Wait, I'm sorry, I put my definition in there. I'm sorry. And they begot sons, the Nephilim, and they were all unlike. That means different, not equal, not resembling. They
Right.
devoured one another. So
Right.
when they devoured, then it said, and the giants slew the Nephilim, and the Nephilim slew the Elio and the Elo mankind, and one man another. So they began to eat each other and devour each other. These giants, these different, like Wes was saying, because that's the first thing crossed my mind. When they began to mate and procreate, they brought forth all these Tyrannosaurus Rex and all these different what's the other one called
It's kind of like what you see on Jurassic Park where they're trying to
yeah, that.
perfect type of hybrid type, you know what I'm saying, creature.
Yeah.
But they can't control it,
And that's cannibalism, eating of meat, flesh.
yeah. When you eat of the same,
Yeah.
whatever you call it.
'Cause that's what they were doing.
But look at what you're saying, what you're describing to us is tyranny over the land,
Yeah.
and basically you had Enoch. Think about in his time, the Watchers came to him to petition Yah because they knew that their sin was so egregious that they could not go before Yah themselves. So they thought because Yah had a special place in his heart for Enoch, it
Yeah.
was gonna change the
Mm-mm.
attitudes. Now Lupe just threw something up that I want to touch on. So these
Yeah.
humanoid type, what they're gonna call aliens, which would be Watchers, I believe that they will look like us, but underneath or layers or whatever is a reptilian type skin, kind of like how I got this guy on this
That's
this
how
thing
these
here.
eyes been looking.
Yeah, something not to this degree with the big eye or whatever, but here they'll look strange enough close to us, but have that reptilian type feature. Now, I just looked up the word for that word took of all women, right? And let me pop it up on the screen. So what that word actually means is, and so me, I think y'all on something, love. It says to take, get. Now I'm gonna get that, right? Fetch, lay hold of, seize. It could be receive, it could be acquire, it could be buy, bring, marry, take away, snatch, take away. So I mean, and not saying that, like I said, we're not saying that they actually did that, but it's a possibility that this is what because they knew that they were more, they knew they had more power than the man. You know what I mean? Even in their transformed state, they still have, you know, qualities that we don't. You know what I mean? And so what we will be exposed to, guys, I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Blue Beam Project. Blue Beam Project. Well, Blue Beam Project is kind of like well, let's see if we can pull it up. It's pull it myself up. It's a project where they're going to be able to send like a mass hologram throughout the sky. So, you know, in our eyes, we'll see Jesus. To the you know, Buddhists, they'll see Buddha, and to what? So everybody's Messiah will show up to them, and it will appear as this type of, you know, mass, I won't say mass figure in the sky that will communicate with us, probably not even, you know, moving their lips, but through the mind. And will have you thinking that the second coming is happening. Now, what we have to keep in mind is, if you looked at movies like Prometheus, if you haven't seen it, I now that I found out what it was about, I went back and looked at it, and there are some very disturbing things that go into that. And if y'all ever seen that movie, Maitreya, right, Dan? Oh, you know what? Let's see here. So if y'all ever seen that movie, I think it's a couple of the aliens. Those two movies are supposed to tie together.
Yeah, they did, Tara. I saw that.
They did Tupac, they did Michael Jackson, they did a couple of different people. It's funny, you know. It's funny that let's talk about this real quick, brothers and sisters. If right now they're just doing simple parlor tricks like getting everybody to wear a mask, right? If they can get people to wear, everybody on the mask scale, majority, I know it's majority outnumber us when we go to the store. It's more people wearing the mask than not wearing the mask, you know.
Yeah.
And it don't make me feel any kind. Well, it do kind of make me feel like, well, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, could people be staring at you? They be looking at you crazy. That's cool. I don't care. But you know, it's funny that something as small as them getting us to believe that, you know, if we don't wear the mask, then we're going to catch the COVID. But it's facts that the fact is that when Lee, like that video that you sent with the OSHA regulation, where you can only breathe in a certain amount of toilet. She don't put toilet paper. Got me about to say toilet paper. You can only breathe in a certain amount of air. I just saw toilet paper and it I buy toilet paper. Right. But they got people to get toilet paper. They got people to wear masks. So what? How easy do you think it will be if they pop a big head person in the sky and have them talking to everybody on level? That's why we also hear y'all who's just saying that, you know, even the very elect will be deceived. What you think about that, brother?
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring that up because I've been thinking about that. You know, they could do, and you know, we're just speculating. And we pray for discernment when it comes, like Project Bluebeam. Say that comes along, and then they debunk it. Well, then you got to think about Ezekiel. In Ezekiel, the first chapter, it says, "I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud, with brightness around it, with fire flashing forth continually. And in the midst of the fire, as it were gleaming metal, and from midst it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had human likeness." And it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, you know, to where people can be, as in the days of Noah. We know these things are coming and going to come to pass more and more. That's why we're talking about dinosaurs and things like that. But you got to think in Isaiah chapter 13, it said, "They come from a distant land, from the land of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So we think of the days of Noah, we think of the Father allowing things happen to fulfill his judgment, to fulfill the things that are come for the abominations that have happened in this land, from abortion to murders to innocent bloodshed. And so you got to think about the blue beam. The interesting thing you brought up was, well, we know about that stuff, but you can't let your guard down. You can't let your guard down when it comes to that. So that's my thoughts on that, brother.
Yeah. So but when it comes down to that, I just pulled up Project Bluebeam, right? And I kind of want to read this. It ain't big enough, but those of you that I just read it out loud. So it says, "What is Project Bluebeam? It involves two things: a technologically simulated second coming." And so this is the thing. Let's stop right there real quick, because a lot of people don't even believe in Yahusha, but they believe in they believe in the second coming. So I mean, I guess is this a thing to work against the believers? You know what I mean? Because what it says, it involves two things: a technologically simulated second coming and reemergence of new Montauk. Type Montauk. Now, if y'all don't know what Montauk is, pull up Montauk monsters. These things have been washing up on, I think, the New Jersey, New York coast for years, and these things look like chimera type creatures that are like a mix between a pig, a dog, and a cat or something like that. But they look very, very weird. So look up Montauk when you get a chance. Montauk Monster. So it says of a new Montauk type project that have the ability to take up a whole bunch of people. Listen to this, and take a whole bunch of people, as in a rapture type of situation, and whisk the whole bunch into a neverland. Ironically, portions of the holographic projections have the potential for changing the planet into oneness with Yah, or that's a God. Unfortunately, this operates on the premise that man shall somehow become God in human form. So it always goes back to Genesis 3, where Hasatan said you could be as God, right? It always goes back to that. No matter how much they try to do it, they're gonna always try to figure out how to do that. Yeah, brother, they do. But look what it says. It says, okay, to become God in human form and control other men and dictate all actions and thoughts. The calculated resistance to the new religion, the new world order, and the new Messiah will entail human loss on a massive scale in the ensuing holy wars. The Blue Beam Project will pretend to be universal fulfillment of the prophecies of old, a major event as that which took place 2,000 years ago. In principle, it will make use of the sky as a holographic projection screen for space-based laser-generated satellites, Star Wars, in parentheses. These projectors will project simultaneous images to the four corners of the planet. Now, y'all notice they said four corners, not around the globe or around the world. It said four corners. Now, where do you hear that used that a lot? In scripture, right? Yeah. Four corners of the planet in every language by region. It deals with the religious aspect of the new world order. Wow. I'm gonna stop right there for a second. It says it deals with the religious aspect of the new world order. What is that? Would that be the false beast that causes the image of the beast to speak, and all on the earth shall worship him? Just saying. We're gonna read a little bit more into this, but Tameka, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, I didn't hear it all. I just heard something. Okay, I just got back.
We just talking about Blue Beam Project, the how they're gonna try to deceive people and make us think that that Yahusha is returned, and how
I truly believe that, because when I had this dream about It was a space. It was a spaceship, and when the spaceship came, I was sitting out in like a park somewhere, and when the spaceship came up, the little dust like little puffs, the dust, it spelled out welcome. And when it spelled out welcome, when they got out, they was like blue. They looked like people, but they was like blue transparent. You could see through them, but they was blue. So my first reaction was I looked, and me and this girl, we looked at each other and we knew that something wasn't right. So we began to take off running. So as we was taking off running, guys, I mean, it was a lot of stuff going on. I'm seeing arrows flying my way. I'm running. I'm looking at these arrows just flying. It was so many. You know how the arrows on 300 was so many arrows coming. And as the arrow was coming, because this time it went from like dusk to real dark. I mean, it turned dark quick, and as it turned dark real quick, I was carrying a kid, but I thought it was my other son, but it looked like it was Emmanuel because it was around by the age of I can't say around about this age or a little bit older, about 9, 10. So he was big enough for me to carry him in my arm. And as I began to run, everybody was wondering what was going on around us. But these things, they was. I mean, you could see clear through them. And the next, I think it was probably about 2 months later, I had the same dream, but this time it was rolling. You know how you remember the movie Critters? How they used to roll around and they can open up. And this how this one was looking. And this time me and my daughter was together and my daughter was walking, she was following it when it said follow. And she was like, I said, kid, don't go behind that thing. But she kept trying to go behind it. And it was just rolling, rolling, rolling. Everybody was just following behind. And I kept trying to tell my daughter not to go, but it had people attracted to it. And that's what it reminded me of Krilla's how it was rolling. And it was the same color, this blue transparent looking color where you could see through it like. But yeah, I don't have no more dreams. Also, he also showed me where a lot of fallen angels. They were just falling from the sky, and I mean they was coming very quick, but they was in sync with each other. And as they began to fall, they was just coming down. I mean, so quick, guys, and they was big and huge and black and they was just coming when they I mean when I say they was coming quick, they was coming very quick and they were just in a row and then sink and they began to hit the ground real hard. And after that, I seen the sky like it looked purplish. Have you ever seen this purplish, misty, darkish looking color? That's how it was looking.
Kind of like
Yeah.
asteroids coming through the atmosphere, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, something like that. And it
yeah.
looked so misty, like ooh, it didn't look right. Something like that, Lee. And that's what he had. He don't show me those three things. And that's why we have to really be prayerful and mindful of what's around us because they are around us because he told us in um Yahusha said when he come in and garnish us out and clean us out, those unclean spirit leave our body roaming dry places. There are demons out there. These unclean spirit are roaming dry places. There are demons out there can come into your home, can come into you, and we have to be mindful about these things. And
Right.
one thing I was thinking about, I was reading up on when NASA started in 1960, guys. And when I was reading about, I've been reading up on a lot of stuff. And when I'm sorry, it was created in October of 1958. And the first thing I thought about was October, the month of that month of Halloween when all this stuff going on, all the wickedness, evil and as Wes called them the Beast Month, and
Beast feast.
Beast Feast Month. So it said that the International Geophysical Year is July the 1st, 1957 through December the 31st, 1958. Effort to gather scientific data about the Earth. And the Soviet Union quickly followed suit, announcing plans to orbit its own satellite. All these things started taking place in the same year. Also, I was reading about this incident that happened in Wales, guys. Not in Wales. I got more than one. But this incident that happened in 1980, this one happened. It's called the Rendlesham Forest incident. I don't know if any of you guys heard about this, but it was a sighting of unexplained lights and landing of a craft of unknown origin in Suffolk, England in 1980 outside of root bits used by U.S. Air Force. Dozen eyewitness events over 2 or 3 days period. The Ministry of Defense, MOD, I think that's how y'all say it, denied events, but the MOD file led to claims of a cover up by both U.S. and British governments. The sighting have explained as a series of nocturnal lights, a fireball lights, and bright stars. December the 26th, everything that I had been reading on happened in October or either December, somewhere around in those feast month, those beast feast months. It said December the 26th at 3 a.m. in 1980, servicemen saw a strange glowing object, metallic color lights, and it moved through trees and animals went frenzy. The craft had numerous symbols on it. And when I thought about those symbols, I thought about in Jubilees chapter 8, verses 3, when they said that one of the I can't remember which one of them found it, but they had found the writings which former generation had carved on a rock. I thought about that when they found those symbols and they was carved on the rock inside of the cave. That's what I thought about when he said he saw in the craft they had numerous symbols on it. He didn't say how the symbols look. He didn't describe them, and he did begin to describe the yellow, red, and blue colors. Sergeant Burroughs reported noise like a woman screaming, and the first thing I thought about was a screech owl or either what's it called, a siren, when that loud screech go. And that what made me thought about, in the demonic realm, how the fallen angels had came, but they were just trying to disguise themselves as aliens. But when he said he saw those numerous symbols, I instantly thought about, I had to go find this in Jubilees chapter 8, verses 3. It says he found a writing which former generation had carved on the rock and read what was thereon, and he transcribed and sent on it too, for it contained the teaching of the watchers in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and moon and stars and in all sign of heaven. So when I saw that, I said, "Oh, that's they came to show them all the symbols over again. They came to show them the signs and wonders of heaven because why would NASA, all these things they trying to get, they say they trying to get to the moon, they learning about stars. You cannot comprehend the thoughts and ways of Yahuwah because our thoughts and ways are not like his. His ways and thoughts are higher than ours, for as the heaven and the earth is higher. I mean, for as heaven is higher than the earth, we cannot comprehend his thoughts, his knowledge. We can ask him for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through the Ruach, and he will give us what he thinks we deserve, but we cannot comprehend how he created the earth. We can't comprehend that. Only he can.
Right. And she just said we won't be throwing ET a welcoming party, but I hate to say it, but the Pope said that he's gonna baptize them. But guys, everybody I kind of just reached out to Dan. Dan gonna join up with us, so he jumping in now. Shalom, brother Dan.
Hey guys, I'm very happy to be here and to hear you talk. How are you?
We good.
I'm very entertained with the topic.
Yeah. Real quick, what are your thoughts on the Blue Beam project? The little stuff that we've been discussing so far, as far as the alien deception that will come along. We know that it's gonna happen eventually, but at the same time, it's like it seems to me that they're waiting for a certain period of time to reveal it, because we know that the presidents have been pretty much in contact or had some form of contact with these entities for some time being, like even back in the 19 around when Roswell happened. You had different presidents that had already kind of conversed in different bunkers here and there. So what are your thoughts on that, Brother Dan?
It's the communist agenda. We look at Black Lives Matter. We look at what's going down in Chaz and how easily they take 7 blocks of Seattle. That's not a given. These guys know that they're backed up by a bigger agenda. That's why they're so arrogant. They're arrogant to the point where the masks being used by them is the same "I can't breathe" agenda. You know, the video that we were watching earlier on the oxygen levels behind the mask for COVID. If there's going to be a second wave of this bug, we will definitely have an increase of cases by those who have been using the mask, and the oxygen levels have been going down. Yep. So Project Bluebeam, I think that it's like Plan B or Plan C or D. I don't know what plan they are in, backing up all their lives, but they have to mess with the Prince of the Air. They need to go into that realm. The bad thing of it is that people that are blowing the alarm right now will be the same blowing the alarm when the aliens come. Right. When I say aliens, it's all the communist agenda making biological bodies for entities that are interdimensional.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this always been that they're trying to create bodies to put their children, the Nephilim, that are disembodied spirits, and we're gonna touch that in the scripture in a minute. How Yah had ordained, since they was not of heaven, you know what I mean? They were born of earth, but wasn't given a soul, that they would roam the earth as unclean spirits or evil spirits, however they would decide to put it. They would make them. And so now, if you could walk around just looking in the spiritual realm, I believe many people would like literally be dead from the things that they would see moving around them in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And so I believe that they're creating clones. They're trying to create hybrid engineered bodies so that these unclean spirits can once again enter in. And not only that, I think when it comes down to it, they're trying to negate the word of Yah. Like, y'all will be, unclean spirits that dwells, on the earth. And they're like, well, we're gonna, we'll create some more bodies for y'all. You just, for the meantime, until we get to that point in time, we can get technology back to where it used to be. Because I believe that technology once upon a time was up there, with if you look into the pyramids and all that stuff, man, that stuff wasn't created by no man. It wasn't created by no man. It took some high pat engineering. But let's look at a couple of things that Isaiah say real quick, y'all. That I found very interesting this week in my studies for this topic is Isaiah chapter 24. Verse 21, and I know, guys, y'all say every week I'm bringing back Isaiah 24. Well, it's a lot of good stuff that pertains to our time in Isaiah 24. But if you look at Isaiah chapter 24, verse 21, chapter 24, verse 21, look what it says. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall punish the host of the high ones. These aren't the ones that belongs to him anymore, right? The host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. Because remember, what did Hasatan first try to do with Yahusha? He tried to give him to bow down to him and give him to worship him so that he can, I'll give you all the kingdoms. Well, he knew that all the kingdoms of the earth would be his. But these kings, these feeble men that want more and more and more power, well, guess what they do? They submit to these high ones and they become their puppet. Yeah. And they become used. Now, there's other scriptures that talk about these high ones, and they're also called the terrible ones, right? And when I found that out, I just heard to continue to read. As I read Isaiah, just continue to read. So you go to Isaiah chapter 25, verses 4 and 5, it says this. For you have been a strength to the poor. Hold on, I think I'm in the wrong place. Let me see. Isaiah.
You said the terrible ones is in scripture 5.
And what?
Scripture 5, you're on the right one.
It's in 25?
It's 25 verses 5. You said something about the terrible one shall be brought low.
Yeah.
That's scripture 5. You're in the right one, Isaiah 25.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna start from verse 4 though. It says, "For you have been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy, and his distress a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat. When the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall." I found that very, very intriguing that it said the blast from the terrible ones, right? Who are these terrible ones? Who are the terrible ones? The ones that wants to perhaps try to, destroy humanity, right?
Man are renowned.
So look at verse 5. It says, "You shall bring down the noise of stranger as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. Listen to this, guy, the branch of the terrible one shall be brought low." Well, what does Yahusha describe us as? Branches, right? So the branches of the terrible ones will be no other than the children of the fallen watcher. These are the Nephilim. These are the unclean spirits. And it's saying that they will be brought low. Remember, who will be cast into outer darkness, into the abyss, into the lake of fire? It's these creatures. And then you got chapter 10, verse 3. Also, I think chapter 10, verse 3 talks about that branch being destroyed from the terrible ones. Let's see.
Which chapter where?
Isaiah chapter 10, verse 33. Oh, that ain't the right one, but I got another one after that. It said, "Behold, Adonai Yahuwah Sabaoth shall lock this is the bow, the bow with terror, and the high ones of stature shall be hewn down, and the haughty shall be humble." And a bow is considered, it just talks about sometime as a branch as well. So it's saying that he shall cut it down. He shall cut it down, and the high ones of stature shall be cut down. And so we see, as we look at what's happening, guys, even though they think that they have a foothold in what's taking place here in earth because of all the chaos and all the the stress and the aggravation, well, they really don't. Because remember, many of these things were placed in man and the evil ones, the wicked ones, heart for that Yah could use. Because remember, if he could harden Pharaoh's heart, he could use anybody. You know what I mean? He knows the intents of the heart of men. So keep that in mind.
Wes.
Somebody else got anything?
Well, I just got different things. Have y'all ever heard of the Porton Down? Porton down? It's a top secret facility where they go and they bring biological weapon, radiation treatment, and management. A whistleblower, they didn't say who it was, revealed he and his men would view behind the scenes. Scientists opened box and they saw like alien-like creature. It was a face like man, but it looked like an alien type creatures. It became apparent how they was not of the world. But this place, they have all the different diseases in there. They have all the things that the government hides, and it's called Porton Down. And they keep a lot of different things, like for as when the incident at, like I was telling you, at the other place in the mountain, in the forest. Then they had one in Berlin Mountain incident where they say there was an earthquake below, but it was not really an earthquake. They said they had people said they were seeing flying saucers, but they was also finding human mutilations in that incident also in 1973 through 74. And that's when the whistleblower came forth because he wanted to try to see that place. And it was called Porton Down. They said they went down in the ground. Later said she tried to go up there, but she said that it was so much going on, and through the woods you could hear different sounds and stuff. When she turned around, because she had her twin girls with her, and she turned around and went back, and it was in North Wales. It was a lot of stuff going on back then. But yeah, they took all those boxes and stuff, and they keep everything, that the diseases, all the stuff that they find at Roswell, different things they find in the wells. and different places they keep stuff there. You can go on. You can go on, Lee.
Oh, I mean,
Hallelujah.
yeah, I mean, well, the thing I was thinking of when you were saying that, it's like the mutilated cattle and the surgical precision of some of the things that have happened. People have varying opinions about crop circles, but I've had family members see things that are not of this world. And, we think about the deception and the programming that the television has given us. As far as how to think when these things come upon the earth or one way or another, like we were saying at the masks and all that, there's always an agenda behind it.
Yeah.
And the evil one has his own prophets as well, telling the future and trying to put programming in us. But
that's right.
It's nothing new. And, you got to think of how evil has no specific life form or look, and we think about the fallen and men of renown, and we think of Nephilim, we think of all those things, and there's so many variances, and kind of like Wes was talking about the T-Rex and how they came down and mated with animals and everything. So everything can have that purpose to it. So, but yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I think anything that is not of Yah does have that potential to be from the evil one and be used for his purpose. But ultimately, it's for Yah's glory. So,
man,
right.
They said they had found a cave in Peru, guys, and in this cave, they said that it had paintings and human-like figures, but they wasn't the way they drew them, the way their heads and their face looked, and the way their bodies looked. They wasn't really like they looked at mankind, but they wasn't real like human-like. But they said it was a cave that was in 1,000 years, and they called this cave Quechaua, but it translates tears of the mighty. And when I thought about that, when I heard mighty, I'm like, whoa, this is not no coincidence. And they say animal and human have been painted on the walls of this cave since the beginning of mankind. They say another pentagram, 14,000 feet, with more than 100 drawings of human-like figures. They said they were human-like, but they didn't say they was human figures. So, they say it was translated "Tears of the Mighty." And when I think about that, I think about the giants, and all the giants like all of Bashan and Goliath and all them, how they called them mighty men. So I was thinking about that. Why would they translate the tears of the mighty? And it was found up on the ground. So I just been looking at a lot of stuff that been citing around the world that you can't, this. A man couldn't have did this. A man couldn't have went deep down in earth like that and did nothing like that. This had to be something that was, like you said, at least something evil.
Kind of like Sasquatch.
Watchers, yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica. And then you think of Sasquatch, you think of the stinky, hairy, red people that are 10 foot tall. You think of all that. And there's a lot to that. You got to figure, Sasquatch, they have certain things that most people don't. And the way that they, if you guys have ever went into Bigfoot or Sasquatch and how that works, they're definitely a different type of entity. So that's something to be aware of as well. But yeah, Antarctica, like you said, Brother Dan, and like Brian and Nikki were saying, they're guarding that stuff. They got some stuff hidden.
There's some stuff going on.
Right. Well, do y'all have anybody ever heard of Admiral Byrd? He was an admiral of the U.S. Navy, which was doing exploration up in Antarctica in the North Pole for that specific reason. And this was around the time when the Nazis
Project Fish, the fishbowl.
They were saying that the Nazis were working, had like a secret base out there, and basically what Dan was just saying about Project Fishbowl, and basically like he said that he got into like a shootout with what they call UFOs. He got into like a shootout.
With stinky grays that stink.
Yeah, exactly. And so and if you think about it, these sticky grays kind of have that same when people describe what a Sasquatch smell like, it's kind of the same deal. But yeah, so Admiral Byrd says that yes, Operation Paperclip. Boom. But Admiral Byrd says that if he didn't go into retreat, he said his fleet barely would have escaped because those things were moving out. He said they were moving to a point where they were like, you know, they were just instantaneously moving from this point to that point, and it is really, you know, bizarre that back then, around, you know, the time when World War II was ending.
I was going to say that
he was able to see this, but now let's think about those humanoids that we were talking about, because remember what Hitler was trying to bring back was the blue-eyed, white-skinned, blonde hair. Well, this is how those Nephilim are described. So was Hitler working on an agenda for what we call aliens, but in the book of Enoch, they're called the Watchers.
Right. He was trying to get some sort of power, and he knew, you know, trying to have that Aryan race, that bloodline, and what that meant, and trying to destroy the Father's people. You know, you got to think about that. And you know what's interesting is we see that the same type of tactics happening today in some sort of way or another. Not to change the subject, but you know, that type of mentality going forth throughout the earth. But Hitler definitely had his agenda. He was definitely working for Hasatan. He was, you know, they were definitely deeply involved with witchcraft. I know a lot of you guys out there know that. You know, if you don't, just go look it up, go check it out.
Yeah.
And you see history trying to repeat itself in many ways through Marxism or communism, or, you know, propaganda or media control. And we see all that happening again because of people's ignorance with history.
That's right. I mean, bro, there's nothing new up under the sun. That's right. You know, like you were saying, you can see the things as far as psychics. You know, they bring in psychics into church. You know, that is not of Yahuwah. You know, you got dividers or roots. You know, people talking about root workers and voodoos. All that stuff is not of Yahuwah. We already know that it's evil. And, you know, for you to try to conjure up a man, you know, when Saul went to the witch of Egdor trying to conjure up Samuel, I had to think about it. I kept trying to say Stephen, but I knew that wasn't right. Saul, you know, Saul asked him, why you disturb my peace? You know, he ain't supposed to do nothing like that. So when we think he went to a medium, matter of fact. So we have to look at all these different spirits that's in operation today.
Necromancer. He went to
necromancer, because
he
she
was one that
communication of the dead.
Now, I don't know if any of y'all have heard of Project Blue Book. Dr. what's his name? John Hynek or something like that. He claimed to have encountered a lot of different things doing this project, but the whole purpose for the Project Blue Book was to keep the masses from finding out about these sightings, but I think Hynek was more, he wanted to disclose it. He was like, hold on, this right here is something that, you know, we're seeing, and y'all, you know, y'all trying to hide it. Now, they're not saying disclose it to everybody. Now, if y'all have ever watched the History Channel show, it shows that the military knew about the Greys, or whatever you want to call them. They knew about them, and they was keeping it from the military guy and Dr. Hynek, right? And so when Dr. Hynek was removed from it, Now you gotta look at it like this: Truman and Eisenhower both knew supposedly had contact with these alien entities, and they knew more about this whole thing because basically the Roswell thing that happened, they basically took the technology and began to. That's where your board or whatever chip from your computer come from. They reverse engineered some of the stuff, and they this is where the computer and different things come from. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that these things did it on purpose, but what if they purposely allowed like a kamikaze type of mission so that could be found because they knew they already knew from the first incursion that man is curious. If they can live forever, they're gonna try to figure out a way. Because if you really think about it, what is man trying to do? They're trying to figure out a way to outlive, you know, what y'all said our years would be. So we know that they're trying to figure out how to change consciousness. And if these creatures they would. Go ahead, brother Dan.
Well, adding to that, I would say that naturally Adam is trying to justify sin. Naturally, Adam is trying to cover the sin with leaves to, go back to Eden, go back to the restored fullness of the body. So much of the mark of the beast comes from this seeking, where it's not a seeking because you love Yah, it's a seeking because you want to achieve immortality and climb up.
Yeah.
You want to rise above like Satan wanted to, and naturally men and religion are rebuked, and we're seeing in this era not only a rebuke coming to the religious part of things, but also economically, politically, socially, medically. It's all realms are being just torn down to Hades because they have sworn allegiance to Satan, and they have worked their way up the ladder in the last days to bring down not only Messiah but also the son of Adam. And the son of Adam is dependent on those who have been resurrected through the blood, so that they may achieve salvation through the blood.
Right. And so this is why we know that eventually there are going to be those that are going to fall susceptible to it because they want to be able to they want to try to exist outside of what Yah has already ordained. You know what I mean? Like if we hold on, we don't have to die. Oh, let they love it. They love the earth. They love this, but yet we have something greater to expect. You know what I mean? As far as what the new earth and what the new heaven will be. But these things, because they wanna rule in the place of Messiah, right? They want to continue to create their kingdom of darkness.
That's right.
So not trying to change the subject. So movies like, when they show like Transformers, they came down and they said now this will be, when what's his name? The one that was head over the one that was on Earth, start with a P. I can't think of his name right now.
Optimus Prime.
Yeah, Optimus Prime. He was saying now this will be our home to defend this country, so things like that. And Superman coming down, and when you were saying they was moving like in a zinc, when those, I think it was on the second Superman when he was fighting against the three people that came from his planet, as he said, and they was moving like that. You remember how they was moving with the black suits on? It was an old Superman, probably in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But
Yeah.
y'all probably know what I'm talking about. They don't change Superman so much. But stuff like that, how they can't, those they trying to show us where watchers are, but trying to show us in a human form.
The Watchers fear the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
That's why they had Hanok, go up, and ask for forgiveness. But they are damned from the beginning to the end. The things that they did, I'm not saying that it wasn't ordained, because he is the Alpha and the Omega.
Right.
But it is part of a plan where free will is given also to the angels. So not only the angels judge, but also the sons of Adam and the redeemed.
I mean, and that I think a lot of people have a hard time believing that fact right there, that the angels also have free will, because when Hasatan chose to rebel, it wasn't because he was just like broke out of some spell. It's because in his mind he wanted to, and in his heart he seen what Yah was able to do, and he saw the glory that he had, and he wanted that for himself. And secretly in all of our hearts, before we receive Messiah, that's what we want. We want that glory. But to go to what Brian just said here about JFK, guys, I believe same thing is going to come to fruition with Trump. I don't know if any of y'all saw this, but it was an interview that he did with his son Trump Jr. And in this interview, Trump Jr. asked him, well, have you found out anything about, Area 51, anything about the aliens? Are you, and Trump is, being Trump. Yeah. And then his last one, he says, well, will you tell anything? He said, I don't know, maybe soon. And it ends like that. I think that's how I go. I'm gonna try to find a video before we go, but I just found that intriguing to say the least, is because every time you have a president that isn't being puppeteered by what the invisible hand want, the hidden hand, then somehow they end up assassinated, right? And if you really go and you go back and you look, they don't report this stuff. But if you look for stuff on the internet, guess what? It's there. It's there. Look for it.
That's so true, because you think about the unmasking of Flynn, and you think about the Russia probe with Strzok and all that deep corruption that was going on, that's been exposed now by Nunez. And you think about all that's happened and the big cover-ups they tried to do, and how the past president was involved, and you had Hillary, you had all these people involved. Yeah. And they know the agenda. And I'm not telling you guys who to vote for, this side or the other. The Father chooses these people. Okay, that's where it comes down to, and we're supposed to pray for our president. That's just part of the deal.
That's right.
But as far as the latest things that have come out, which and once again, I'm not telling you anything. I'm not giving you an opinion.
Right.
I'm saying on facts, and trying to have an unbiased opinion about the way things that we see in discernment through our eyes of discernment. And you think about the things that have come out and the things that are coming out, and how much they've tried to keep everything under wraps. Talking about JFK Jr., talking about them not wanting truth to come out. When we see the media and they're just a bunch of puppets owned by a couple people, and people that don't realize that need to get their head out of sand. But other than that, you got to think, wow, you can see how Hasatan is working. Obviously, you can see it working through politics. But when there's a lack of truth, and when there is that much deception in things, they don't want you to know about JFK Jr. And there's so many things and theories about JFK Jr. and Trump being friends. Of course, that's where Q comes from. Right. And JFK Jr. is long, he had that big Q, and there's a lot of things going on there. But it's interesting what we're seeing and how that all plays a hand in what we're talking about. So we're not blind to it, that's for sure. People think we're crazy. People think we're conspiracy theorists or what have you. But we do see things through a different lens. It's kind of like when we blew the horn on Sunday, that counted for something. So, they could call us crazy for that, right?
Right. No, they didn't do nothing. They was already counseling it anyway. No, we had already put it in the atmosphere that it was going to be counseled. We just put a stamp on it. Hallelujah. We put a stamp on it when we blew those shofars that it will not happen.
Amen. When you was talking about the truth, Lee, people they can't take Trump because he tell the truth. They rather hear a person get in office and tell them a dressed up lie than believe the truth. People don't want to believe the truth, and they be right there. You rather hear a lie than the truth, and that's what's going on. He putting everything right out there on the front for everybody to see. He telling the truth about everything, but people just rather hear a lie. And I don't understand. People keep talking about the president that was before him. He brought back this Obamacare that didn't do nothing but put people in more debt with the hospitals. Because I was on there when I didn't have insurance, and it put me in more debt than anything with my
Kenyan?
So then you guys, the Obamacare. So people rather believe a lie than the truth. They can't accept the truth. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just amazing how and I can't. I can see things. We're supposed to judge a tree by its fruit, right? Obviously, and yeah, we don't agree with language or the way things are said, and they're not always done by love. And some of that fruit isn't necessarily the most pristine fruit out there. But there's basic things that go along with the premise that somebody is trying to do right, and you see the other side, and people are just brainwashed. And that's why Project Bluebeam and the Antichrist and all those things. That's just an example. If you're going to believe all this stuff you're hearing out there, you're going to believe, hey, we're not supposed to believe if somebody says he's over there or over there. Well, how many people are going to believe it? I heard it on the news. Okay, so I heard it on the news. I heard it on CNN. Well, a lot of people listen to that junk.
Yeah.
A lot of people listen to this news.
So imagine how Corona would have advanced with the Obamacare, brother.
Oh my gosh. I mean, just think of everything going on now. If it happened and we flip shoes on parties, think about what the media would do, and how they blew up Bubba Wallace and a garage door rope, and they did, and the way.
And did you hear the latest report where when they asked, so do you think that it was a news though? Like she continued to put, and he was like, well, I'm just like, bro, stop, just stop. And I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, it just frustrates me that they want to push an agenda that other people are blinded to.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, that's where prayer comes in, but I mean, honestly, guys, like it has me sometimes so at the point where I just want to, in the words of my Aunt Sandy, I want to wring somebody's neck.
Because the truth comes out, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah,
the truth comes out, and then nobody's thinking about it anymore because the short attention spans hopped them on to the next topic.
Exactly.
That's it.
And think about it like this: it's the same way. Like if you're, say for instance, you're discussing something with somebody, and say the topic of what we're talking about now, aliens, blah blah blah. I'm like, hey, that if in the Bible it says that, and it's like, okay, this guy done went off the rails. He's talking about the Bible. They're bringing the truth into it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same thing as what you said. Like, as soon as the Bubba Wallace thing got that it was just a hoax, then it was kind of like nobody made a big issue about that. Like they tricked all the NASCAR drivers into standing in solidarity with him. They did all this stuff, and it took the FBI how many days to figure out that this little rope that was hanging on a man. Listen. I ain't no expert at how a noose operates, but I'm pretty sure that
have all the numbers on it.
There's mechanics to how a noose works.
Psychology.
Exactly. When you pull one part of it, it's gonna tighten. That's how it tightens around the neck. So if somebody goes to pull that noose down while they're trying to pull the door down, it would tighten around their hand. So therefore, just with the mechanics itself of sitting there looking at this little bitty rope that you can't even hang a rat with.
And if it was, my thing
a SpaceX.
And if it was to, what you call it, when they hung a noose, they always use 13. That 13 rounded.
33 cases of COVID internationally.
So that's how you know too.
Yep. I heard about that.
That's just it's part of the psychology behind it. As copywriter, people study that type of attention span and retention of the people reading. So when you start seeing that applied in ads or in different commercials that you see, it's like putting the glasses on. You know that famous movie.
From that movie, They.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all seen that movie, Lee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
What
well,
movie?
Ryder Piper, They. You haven't seen it? We'll watch it when we get through with this. And I think no, you'll be surprised because it shows the characteristics of how they hide in plain sight. Yeah, exactly. The straight mechanics of how they hide in plain sight. And you had the elites in their own little, but Ryder Piper go nuts in there. You know, he don't play that.
That's right.
But it shows like the ads say, you know, it show us something that tickles the flesh, that makes us want to itch, but really it says, you know, prison or something like that, or but
Obey.
Yes, obey or listen, or it has something that really is a subliminal message to the mind that shackles the mind, and this is all, the watchers have been here for centuries. They have been doing this for a period of time. That guys, they're no idiots. They know the psychology of man. Who you think that led Sigmund Freud into becoming the father of psychology?
That's right.
Fallen watchers, and then you had other ones that came along behind.
Stalinism.
Yes, and guys, what you think this whole communist takeover is?
Yeah.
Think about what Stalin did.
Satanic initiation.
Right.
Oh yeah, that dude right there, Stalin. Yeah.
But this is the thing: you hear more about Hitler's egregious crime, than you hear about what Stalin did. And Stalin killed how many of his people? You know what I mean? Like he destroyed a nation. Just 20 million Russians, and not including anybody else of different nationalities that was in his country that he killed.
Imagine that type of this mindset applied on platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, where you have digital grids, digital gulags where they can censor whoever they want to censor internationally. And what if governments come? We see the situation in China where government is being supplied by these platforms of information so they can put people on concentration camps because of what they think, because of what their opinion is, because if they're believers. All of these psychological warfare tactics are the initiation for a new era into the artificial intelligence takeover. So I personally believe that we are in a time that we are to burn. We are to be the fourth is in the flame with the other three, and we are witnesses with him. We are in his body, and this amount of information that is being poured in the last days, it is the same thing that unseals, and the wicked think that they're going to get away from it. The internet started by email. The email system was the first way to send information and receive. So this invention that came from India allowed a lot of it gave the platform for international rings that work in darkness to operate. And they started operating with a invisible cloak. They thought that it was the same little knot that they're hanging up there and saying, oh, look at that, they are threatening me. Well, we're not threatening you. Thing is that the end of the age is here and the dragon was already cast down. The ancient Sumerians were waiting for all the other stars to fall because they come with a tail. And they spoke of their return.
Exactly. And I don't know if y'all ever heard of the Anunnaki.
Yeah, Anunnaki with Anunnaki, right?
Anunnaki, yeah, Anunnaki. There is a something similar to what Dan was just saying here, where they have been here before. and that they will return again. And these ancient cultures like Egyptians and, you know, where if you look in at hieroglyphs, you see that you have like huge beings and then you have a little bitty person next to it. Well, I think they're depicting who they consider like to be those Anunnaki or Anunnaki, and those beings that have already been here before. And to me, you know, the veil was I don't know, it's like a veil was covered over the last 2,000 years, to where, you know, because think about it, back in Yahushua's time, they knew that people was demon possessed. They knew, you know, the certain diseases and illnesses came from demonic spirits. And unclean spirits. So, but now they have, what they did was they said, okay, well, guys, we're gonna start this thing, start using these radio waves. Well, what do you think radio waves does to our brain waves? Because think about it now, our brain waves works on frequency. Radio waves works on frequencies. So what they did is they figured out a way to cover our eyes, our spiritual eyes, and our spiritual senses, to the point where we can't operate in that function. And this is why Peter was able to walk around and his shadow was able to cast, because he didn't have that interference, right? Paul, they could take a cloth and just, you know, he touched it and it's anointed enough to heal the person in Rome or wherever, you know, they sent it to. And that's because they didn't have those spiritual disconnections. But what do we have? We have telephones, we have Bluetooth, we have iPhone, we have computer, we have all this different stuff that really closes off the gates of our mind, to the point where we don't have that 100% focusing of the frequency we should have. So therefore, like when we do when it is, you know, unlocked and we're able to see those things, man, people's hearts are gonna melt.
That's the word.
Fluoride, pineal gland shrinkage, what's in the water, what's in the food. You know, and we're aware of these things. You know, we're not in the dark at all. We, you know, and we learn from each other through the Spirit leading us. And that's why, you know, everything, there's no coincidences. Everything that happens for a reason. It's all been planned. It's part of the plan for teaching, for refinement, or what have you. And you made me think of this, Brother Wesley. Sometimes I hear a word from an unfavorable source, but it's still a word I needed to receive.
Hallelujah.
So when we get that word, and we're searching and we're seeking Yah, and we're listening for His voice, and sometimes they're in the most unsuspecting places you can ever imagine.
He is the Lord of hosts. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen.
I mean, so when we look at what the Watchers allow, you know, what they brought forth in the first incursion, right? Do y'all think that a lot of the technology is, because from what I understand, in the times of Noah, the technology was just so up there as far as what, you know, they were able to, what the Watchers had begun to reveal in the earth at that time is just it doesn't even, we're not even on that level, you know what I mean? And but Yahusha said that we will be in the times, you know, our times will be as in the days of Noah and as in the days of Lot. Well, what was he saying? He was saying that wickedness would be enveloped in the land. And where did that major corruption come? Well, it came from the not only the incursion of the Watchers, but you also had Hasatan and as Dan just brought up, 1/3 that are also here, and those are the 1/3 are the reptilian. Because remember this, each angel has a court of angels that basically is under, it's like a military, you know what I mean? They had their own troops. So of course the ones that was already with Hasatan, they went with him, you know what I mean? They followed behind him because they thought that he was going to be able to overthrow Yah and become, you know, the saber oak, which we know that he doesn't, he just doesn't possess that power. He's finite, while Yahuwah is infinite. But look at what we are going into, guys. Like how in 2020 you heard more about, you know, the starting up of 5G and getting all these things going, and the expectancy of new technologies. I mean, they haven't even slowed down on the phones or any of this other stuff with the COVID. They just said, hey, now you just order it online and we'll drop it off at your doorstep.
Yeah.
But if y'all notice, none of that stuff took a backseat to being non-essential.
Nope.
With technologies being created, which I'm pretty sure those people are working in factories right alongside each other.
And they are observing the stars, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look into Sumerian, the carvings on stone that they have the moon and they have stars that look like a sun. So when you look at the Mazzaroth and that it also bears witness to a clock that opens the heavens, it would take you in an infantile, in an immature way to say it, but have you guys seen the movie of Hercules?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the complete stars align, the planets align, and then there's gates that open and the Titans come up. Yep. And then that's the chess move of Hades, and he's like, "Ha! This is my maximum, poker face, Mm-hmm. And at the end of the battle, good wins in this mythology that parallels a lot of what the stars have to offer that resemble Messiah.
Right.
And these guys know it. These seraphims know it. They created a religion of the pyramids. They created a world structure of the seraphim, where even in Mexico, you have pyramids that the Aztecs used to have the ancient priest go on a DMT trip after they would drink the blood adrenalized of the hearts of the victims. Mm. And this is a humongous Mongol empire that offered up their sacrifices to ancient serpentine-like beings that would fly. And they would come into the body, Quetzalcoatl, that's right, yeah. They would come into the body of the priest, and the priest would he would start having the trip, and they would speak these prophecies when the moon would come and it would turn red, because they observed the movement of the celestial signs, and they were able to manipulate with the wisdom of these seraphs complete civilizations that were overtaken. Like Isaiah says, that nation is given up to nation. I'm going to give up Egypt. I'm going to give the Persians. He gives up nations to others.
Right.
In that same manner, the Christian, and I'm going to say quote unquote Christian, that comes after the 333 years of Messiah coming, Constantine building up the counterfeit, they came with their virgin. They came with their own Isis and Tammuz worship to install in America.
Right.
And it was installed in the whole world.
So what you saying, that something that just came to mind is, do y'all think that eventually they will try to make people believe that the Virgin Mary was, in a sense, how these abductions work, where women are abducted and then all of a sudden they end up pregnant and you know what I mean, or their egg was removed or whatever the case is. But it seems like these entities have some type of not obligation, but it's like they're infatuated with the human genome, and so are they gonna try to say that Yahusha is basically like of their DNA through alien abduction, even though we know what scripture say, but you have those that, for instance, doesn't read scripture, isn't in their word, doesn't spend no time with Yah, and basically just hear something and they kind of run with it. Do you think they will believe that narrative because Project Bluebeam and these other CRISPR and Project Paperclip and Blue Book and all that different type of stuff that they been working on for so long will eventually come along and then people will fall susceptible to that thought that Yahusha is one of those entities born of Mary.
Yeah, that's. Go ahead, Lee. I
Well,
go after
yeah,
you.
2 Thessalonians 2:11. You got to think about that, and for that reason, Yahuwah will send them a strong delusion that they should believe the lie, and so it's separation between the wheat and the tares as well. Those that are in His Word or in Him aren't going to be deceived by that. We pray not to be deceived, and that's why we have each other. So, yeah, go ahead, brother.
I was just going to add that there's 3 phases that I've observed to it. In the first phase, this incursion, when Wesley was speaking, that they take whoever they choose. In Genesis 6, they start this incursion, and then you have the Anunnaki, the sons of Anu. You have all these ancient beings that were after the flood, but were resembling what happened before. And then you have, after this incursion of Genesis 6, you have another type of incursion in the promise, when Jacob wrestles with the angel and he sees the ladder where the angels are going up and down with honey. So I think that this second phase is a spiritual judgment that occurred where the sword went all the way in. When Messiah went into the depths of the earth and the earth swallowed him in, I see that as a sword of light just going all the way down and bringing the measuring rod all the way down and taking the keys of death from the hands of darkness, whoever.
Right.
And then this second phase comes into the third one, where they no longer have what they had in the first incursion, this physical form with strength. They no longer have the Pharisaical view of taking over the religious system. Now they want to take over the minds of men. And we can see these protocols of Stalinism being applied with the use of masks and the pointing out of fingers with, what's going on in Hawaii. I think you were the one that shared this with me, Lee, that they made a Eden place, a beautiful place. They turned it into a hellhole with people that are pointing out others that don't keep social distancing measures, or they don't use masks, like spotters, snitchers, like in the Second World War. And this invasion into the mind of those people allows the entities to have more peons.
Yeah. So and I agree with that. What they are doing is they're infiltrating the minds of men to have control over. He's basically building his army. Let's look at it like that, guys. He's building his army, and he's using manipulation through TV media, through fear mongering. And so what they're doing is, until they're able to get their quote unquote bodies, they're body jumping. The invasion of the body snatchers. But instead of it being quote unquote aliens that coming out and doing it, it's the children that have been disembodied. Let's look at that real quick. Let's touch on that. I think it's Enoch chapter 15. I think it is Enoch chapter 15, verse 8 and 9. Enoch chapter 15, verse 8 through 9. It says, now the giants who have been born of the Ruach and of flesh shall be called upon the earth evil spirits, and on earth shall be their habitation. Evil spirits shall proceed from their flesh, because they were created from above. From the holy watchers was their beginning and primary foundation. Evil spirits shall they be upon the earth, and the spirits of the wicked shall they be called. The habitation of the spirits of heaven shall be in heaven. But upon earth shall the habitation of the terrestrial spirit who are born on earth. The spirit of the giants are like Nephilim, which shall oppress, corrupt, content, and bruise upon the earth. Now, I want to also take it to another scripture, because if you go to 2 Baruch chapter 2, this is what we are talking about now. third incursion where the spirits are in other words, overtaking the mind, attacking the mind, and first they call it. We just read that it said that they will oppress. Well, they oppress the oppressed to possess, right? They oppress the oppressed to possess. So look at this. Second Baruch chapter 27, verse 9. And look what it says. It said, and then this is where they breaking down all the different things that have happened in 12 different parts. And the eighth part, a multitude of specters. The specters are the unclean spirits. And attacks of the Shadim. Those are demons. Those are the watchers. So we know that there is an incursion that's happening, and this is what they've been doing it. They've been doing it they've been doing it for millennium now. They've been working on it throughout the year. And what happens now is this is being passed down from generation to generation. This is where your witches, your necromancers, your warlocks, your Wiccans, those different people, they're passing on this from children to children. Do you think that woman just came up with the Harry Potter series on her own? No. It was given to her just like Muhammad say that that Gabriel appeared to him. Well, we know it wasn't Gabriel. You know, not the Gabriel of the scripture that we read about, you know, because he was one of y'all's holy watchers.
Satan come as an angel of light.
Right. And so what we see is we're seeing that third incursion, and what they're doing is now they're attacking and they're overtaking the mind. And as they overtake the mind with all this different type of stuff, like we were talking about, you know, the poisoning of the food, the fluoride, the chemtrails, all that different type of stuff. Well, guess what? As we move further into this time period, now phones even play a part in that. You know what I mean? Social media play a part in that, because think about it, social media can also curve a person's attitude throughout that day, that week, even. You know what I mean? And that's why I find myself like sometimes I just don't even want to be on there. You know what I mean? Because you could see some very, very foolish things being said or done, and knowing full time well that some people would not even let that come out of their mouth if they were standing face to face with you. They were, you know, but behind social media they have, you know, some homage. You know what I'm saying? So I just see what we're looking at is they're preparing the stage for the Blue Beam Project, so that we can those that are susceptible will be deceived.
I agree.
I concur.
Rock Kazak.
We see it. Amatz. We see it, man. And we're all in one mind, one accord on this stuff. And you know, we might not be getting 100% right, but we're seeking His righteousness and His will. Right. So, you know, we've got some. You know, we've been shown things and through each other and through various resources. But more than anything, like you're saying, Brother Wesley, you know, when we see this stuff, it hurts our heart, because we see how wrong it is. We see how deceived people are, you know, and how they get wrapped up into everything. We see the trends and the patterns. And when we can step back from the heavens and see that, then, you know, that viewpoint, that perspective is very different than what they're going through. And that's why we must continue to pray for them. And our fight isn't against flesh and blood anyway, and we know that. Right. So all these spirits we see moving about, we know, and like we were saying with work and things like that earlier, we are atmosphere changers, we're game changers. So we got to keep that in mind.
Amen.
Hallelujah. I was going to say that when we were mentioning the giants, Wesley, you spoke about the giants, and I was imagining the spiritual giants that this era has, and we as sons of David, sons of Joseph, because we are in the body of Messiah, we get to dream and to achieve big things. Big things. It's just a matter of who is willing to take action. How long can you endure? Because the way that the agenda is working against the saints is that they are pushing, they are wearing out the Kodashim. At least that's what they're trying to do.
That's what they're trying You do. That's right, brother.
Yep. They look. That's why you hear it several times throughout Scripture. It says, "Here is the patience of the saints,"
Mm-hmm.
because they will come to try to wear out. And what are they trying to wear out? They're trying to wear out your patience. They're trying to wear out your love, trying to wear out your joy. They want to wear out the fruits of the spirit so that you operating under the same premise that they are. And then guess what? They got you. You know what I mean? If they can get you to cross over. In other words, let's take a look into Star Wars. What when you're a Jedi, what is they always trying to get you to cross over to the dark side? You know what I mean? And there's a dark side of the force, and there's a part of the force that is for being done. Good things can be done with, which and I don't know, throwing people around and playing with their mind. That's kind of cruel, but in the sense, I always looked at it as with Star Wars, that whole sense of things. You had the spiritual aspect, which was the force, and then you had the natural aspect, which was the dark side that wanted the power. They wanted to stand on top and be seen, and it even proved by the emperor using lightning to kind of. And I'm like, wow, they chose to give him lightning as his you know and you see it time and time again with Thor, with Zeus, you know what I mean? And it's funny because Yahusha said he described Hasatan as what? Being cast out of heaven, as lightning being cast down to the earth. So it's not a surprise that his characteristic for many of these head entities is always lightning, right?
Yeah.
And even when you look into the mythology of Norse, the Nordic, and the Greek, and the pantheon of gods that these Romans and everybody had. Well, each one of them they all were similar in some form or fashion. They just had different names. And
Jupiter, Venus, Isis,
right,
Semiramis.
exactly. They all had the same characteristic and function of it. And they just had different names because it was broken. Remember when the languages were broken up or whatever? They all took different things into their territory, but they didn't forget. You know what I mean? They just couldn't communicate because their language was separated. But they just gave different names to these entities.
Yeah.
Because now, if we talked about Jacob's ladder. If you look up that in the Hebrew, that ladder is described as a kind of like a ziggurat. What those Aztec pyramids that Dan was just talking about. And as I was doing a study, and I think even Rob Skiba kind of touched on this, the Tower of Babel wasn't a tower as what they try to show us. It was more of a ziggurat. And it had, and what they did was they found an area in that plane of Shinar where the spiritual gate, in other words, it was a place that aligned with the stars. So at a certain period of the time and age, a gate will open up, and the angels, kind of like with Jacob's ladder, will ascend and descend. And so what they were trying to do, they were trying to open up, kind of like what we got with CERN now, where they're trying to play with what they call the God particle and all this different type of stuff.
SpaceX.
Right. And I don't know if y'all seen I think it was in Switzerland about a year or two ago where they had this underground train thing that they opened up, and they did like this mass like satanic ritual with goats
Oh
head,
yes,
Yeah.
yes I did.
and all that different type of stuff. Well, I don't think it was just something that they were just doing on a whim. I mean, even if you go and pull up YouTube, the people dancing for CERN, I mean, if you look at
They
that,
they were bringing spirits out of that mountain, brother.
right, and think about it. And Enoch, where were they chained away, and where were they locked away at? And it was inside a mountain,
Sheol,
right?
the cavern cisterns.
Right. And then we also have to look at it like this, because you hear a lot of these people that were in like the Navy and different things. They talk about these air type crafts or orbs that are coming out of the water. Now think about it like this: the water is also considered a part of Sheol because it's the abyss, you know. And so now they have. We can't search and live inside the water, but guess what? They're interdimensional beings. They don't have the breath, they don't have the lungs and the capability that we got. They're spiritual. So technically, if they want, they can make a base wherever they wanted at. You know what I mean?
Then you have the stories of Cortez and the maps where entities, humanoid mermaids, would take men into their cavern, and the Mayans had cenotes that would be connected to these tunnels where virgins were sacrificed. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie the King Arthur, something like that, and with the sword Excalibur, and then you have this crazy king from a nation that kills his daughters and offers them up to an entity like a fish thing, octopus that comes out of the sea and grabs the corpus and pulls it into the cave like the Little Mermaid, this weird entity that transforms her into a mermaid or a human, and it's the inverted of Disney, the wonders of Disney.
Right, and even when you look at Clash of the Titans, right? What is Perseus going against? And Percy is also supposed to be a demigod that's supposed to be, the champion of the people, kind of like Hercules. In other words, he's Hercules' brother. If you think about it, but Hercules would be one of these men of renown, or what they would call a Nephilim, a giant.
And these entities from the caverns go back to Dagon and ancient Sumeria.
Right, and when you look up what Dan is talking about with the mermaids and the sirens, well, these things were heavily in the Greek culture, and the reason I know is because I'm a third Greek, so I did a lot of studying on this, and what these entities did, they dwelled by what caverns in the water, so that they can, as what he was saying, they mesmerize you and they take you. And they would then eat you or whatever it is to or some of them even tried to mate with you. And I don't know if y'all know, but they got a show on Freeform called Siren. And well, on this show, they took a major like just left turn where they're like the humans are now mating with the mermaid when they come on land. I mean, it's just what comes to mind immediately is wow, the incursion of the Nephilim, and because me, for instance, I don't call anything mythical because there's proof that these things. I mean, in my scriptures, like Jasher points out, like a half horse, half man type creature, and a half bear, half man type creature. And not only that, Enoch says that they were splicing back then. So the centaur and the minotaur and all this different type of stuff. Well, I'm not discounting that they didn't exist, because I mean, if you go back and you look at the stories that are created from these beings like Cyclops and things like that, they're more like deformed creatures that was brought forth from two different types of entities being spliced together, kind of like a chimera, having like a griffin, an eagle, lion, and bear, or something like that. You know what I mean?
A lot of that comes after the use of the mitra. Also, the Catholic religion, the Pope, the hat that he uses is in the form of a fish, and it goes back and it flashes down symbolisms of purity of blood that resembles this anointed bloodline that comes from these ancient demigods.
Yeah,
it's all Sumerian.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, we could talk about this for days. You know what I mean? It's so much when it comes to it. And now think about this, guys: werewolves, Sasquatch, vampire. You know, all this different type of stuff that we're warned about in scripture, about different things like drinking blood. Why are we being warned about drinking blood? Well, it says back in Enoch and in Genesis that they begin to, corrupt themselves, and they were drinking the blood and doing all this different type of stuff. So, so adrenochrome. And now, think about this, guys. They say that the Wuhan virus that came out of the Wuhan virus. Wuhan, where the virus came from,
the Fauci,
is where they manufactured synthetic adrenochrome.
Yes, sir. And they tainted it.
Right. And this is why a lot of your actors were coming out saying that they had COVID. And one of the first ones was what? Tom Hanks and Idris Elba. Right. There's a lot to that. A lot.
They got fear-mongered into believing it, and then they were subject to what's coming next. Because the entire world is waking up to the fact that this is a huge a huge fake story that will push many to use masks on their face and start the process of being sick for winter. And then in winter, they're going to roll it out. And this has to end by September. In September, we have a big feast coming up.
Right.
And trumpets are going to blow, and judgments are going to fall.
Yep.
So it is a very good thing for the body of Messiah to start becoming more and more consecrated and more enraptured with the information that is being poured up on every single one of us.
Right. And guys, he didn't say to be raptured, he said enraptured. Because really, and that's why we have to be Berean. If you don't know who the Bereans is, go and look it up in Acts. They were a group of Jews that when Paul went and preached to them the gospel, they were like, hold on, let us look through the scriptures for this. They didn't, and so many people now just want to discount everything. They either gonna believe it off rip and just go run with it and won't look into it themselves, or they're gonna discount it and then fall into the trap, right? So we have to be Berean. We have to go into it and look into these things ourselves instead of just taking anybody's word for anything. You know what I mean?
Casting all leaven out.
Right. Me, Brother Dan, Lee, Sean, Tameka, Sandy, any of us that come on here, Sister, Nikki, Brian, whoever, Lupe, we ain't saying that we 100% have it together. But what we do want to do is we want to make sure that if we have been revealed something, we want to bring it to that person's attention or to a group of people's attention, and then you look into it for yourself. And if there's correction that need to be made, we're all brothers and sisters. We should be able to come to one another in love and say, hey man, I looked into what you told me about it. Right now the spirit is really kind of telling me that isn't the way that I should go. Now that's up to you to receive the correction, or to, how you go about doing it. But one thing I always do is when correction or anything is brought to me, I'm never going to say I'm right. I'm always going to say, Father, okay, maybe I jumped the gun on this one. Reveal to me what's right and what's wrong. Tell me, because my brother came to me. And not only that, a second confirmation with my wife came to me, and they said that they was in total disagreement with what I just said, and that I thought to be the truth. And remember this: the truth is what you make it, but the real truth is who Yahusha is, or what Yahusha proclaims to be in us. You know what I mean? That's the real truth. But everybody has a form of truth. If you really think about it, everybody has a form of truth. But until that truth is brought to the attention that, hey man, that ain't right. You know what I mean? I could post something today that I thought was facts, and then look into it, and then come to find out somebody say, hey man, that didn't really happen.
I would add to it that we all are precious stones, and the frequency of light that shines through us is what we are called to be. We have to, and this is a thing that I love of your channel, that the lemma, the word that goes by it is "be a light in the darkness." So the king has different gems encrusted in, embedded in the crown. We all are different gems. We build the temple together in Ehad.
I mean,
Amen.
y'all know he just made me think about is it the Shepherd of Hermas, where it talk about the building of the tower and everybody is a different stone, and the stones that get refused are the ones that was living in iniquity and lawlessness and didn't want to follow what y'all was talking about, and they thought that they had it together, but oh, sorry, your stone is removed. Like, oh, I don't want to be one of those stones.
Yeah, that's a humbling thing, and that's really what it's about, is humility in working together, because all of our talents are so different. We combine those talents to make that strength, and his strength through us. So that's a great
Hallelujah.
that's a great message, that shepherd of Hermas, with the stones. Some of them weren't perfect, some of them were further away,
Yeah,
and all fitting together. How many stones are rejected is just amazing, Just, and it's got to be pristine, it's got to be precise, and it's got to be through and washed with his blood. Otherwise, that stone doesn't fit.
right.
Oh man, I like that.
Tameka,
Yeah.
go ahead. You've been quiet.
Well, I just been,
I've been piggybacking off of what y'all been saying, because
I
y'all
just,
stuff.
I was not about to say that. I've just been letting it saturate inside of my ruach. What y'all been saying, because so many people think that aliens are real. So many people don't believe in aliens, but they think that aliens are just aliens, another what is it, unidentified object or something, whatever they call it. But I always believed that it was something demonic to it. Even when I was young, I was like, okay, ghosts, okay. Even with the history books, okay.
Right.
But now I know that since my eyes have become open to, in the spiritual realm, I understand that these things are real because I have viewed them for myself. I have seen them with my very eyes through the lens of Yahusha showing them to me, because he's the one that showed them to me. I couldn't have seen them without him. And and for people just to think that all this stuff that's going on around, like y'all said, this is an agenda. Everything that's going on now is an agenda. But Yah is still in control of everything. He created evil just as well as good. So that's what we have to understand. But I can see in the spiritual realm where a lot of people are going to try to get upset with Yah because they can't understand that a Yahoo, a Elohim would do something like this. But the time is for the, like y'all was saying, the patience of the saints. It's time for us to endure as he told us to do, because the saints shall be
Yes.
saved. Those that endure shall be saved, and that's what we got to do. We got to really lean and depend on him in this season, and we got to encourage each other, because like y'all was talking about the sirens and how they was mating on the movie, the show Siren. All these things have been coming to pass for a long time, because they made, I don't know if y'all used to look at all that stuff, like my mom used to look at this, so it made me look at like Godzilla and Gothra and all those things like that, and them, those big ants. I used to wonder, about all those creatures. How did they perform all those creatures? But now I know those was just demons. And we just have to be watchful and prayerful for each other. I've just been just listening, taking it all in, because it's like, whoa, y'all know some stuff. I'm just taking it
I
all
told
in.
y'all she was gonna say
Yeah,
it.
I had to let it. I had to let it marinate, because when I talk to Tara be talking about Project Blue Beam and stuff. I'm like, whoa, Tara, slow down. Tara be knowing about all that. So That's how I learned about a lot of stuff listening to her talk also. So
Yeah. Yep. And to answer Brother Michael, I have heard a little bit about that. That America did get their name from that serpent, and supposedly that's where the serpent mounds come. And I don't know how they were created or what the deal was, but
Siren.
Mika,
mhm.
Sarah,
uh,
Sarah got something for you.
what siren? What's it in with that show Siren?
Siren, yeah.
Yes. Oh, she trying to be fun. Okay, she don't let me get started on documentary.
Yeah, I tell you.
I'm gonna get Sarah, but yeah, God, this is awesome just to be talking about things that because when y'all was talking about the abyss, yeah, when y'all was talking about abyss, and you remember when I was telling y'all about an earthquake explosion, a meteorite landed in January the 23rd, 1974. A meteorite hit the earth. And when this meteorite landed, they said it was an orange glow in the mountains, and it was the shaking of the ground. And when they shook the ground, they went up under the ground. They found it's like an abyss. So when Wes was talking about that, I had to remember like, what did I see that at? And I had found it today. It was called the Berwyn Mountain Incident, and it happened in this also happened in another part of Wales. So a lot of stuff was going on in Britain, a lot of stuff was going on in the United States. So we have to take a look at what was so significant about those areas where they landed at. And I think they was like gateways to different portals that they could enter into because they kept landing in these in certain areas in Britain, but they was close in some they were real close in diameter. And it says that why would the military need lights? One of the guys asked the question, why would the military need light up the sea with 80 photo flash bomb? So they use these lights to go up under the ground, up under the abyss because it was so dark. And then they said there was sightings of black helicopters in 1973 all the way to January of 1974. So these things, and that's how I had found out about Porting Down, about how they had this secret facility also through that.
All right, so you made some pretty good points there, and something I want to touch on is you said a lot of things happen in Britain and England and stuff like that. So think about it. Where did we break off from? We broke off from that nation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
if you really stop to think about it, America has always been a project that was going to be used to really bring forth the New World government. Because if you go back and look at the original map, guess what it was called? The New World, not America.
Yeah, the New World.
Man was saying, Michael, he was saying that America is named after Amaruka, which is a plump serpent. Now, I didn't do a lot of studying into that, but I wanted to know because in the North America region between like Mexico, some of Central America, and Canada and North America, the most of the natives to the land were in worship to this, and they all call them something different, but the feathered serpent, and basically this serpent was kind of like their god, like an entity, but he wasn't like how China have the certain dragons with the legs and the different things. Well, basically these and it's broke up different ways in different cultures. Now, my point, what I'm trying to get to is that these entities, as America was being created, they had to allow the bloodline, because that's why the kings and the queens always stay within the bloodline over in those areas. They don't never have anybody on a different platform. So now you hear this guy coming forth that claims that he's the king of North America, the king of Canada and all these different places. Well, what do you think that they're trying to bring forth from that bloodline? They're trying to bring forth the anti-Mashiach.
Yeah.
Now, they had to allow some of that royal bloodline to get over here. So now, if you look into all the presidents, most of them are interrelated some kind of way.
Related, yeah.
And so that bloodline has just been brought over here, and they live amongst us. Let's just put it like that. You have these entities that live amongst us, and these are the wealthy, the elite, the ones that supposedly started corporations and all this different type of stuff. I even believe that it's an entity behind Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and are being manipulated and the thinking that they have made some kind of pact with these entities, and then later on it's gonna be just like what you see in with have anybody ever seen Aladdin where he got Aladdin to do his dirty work and then he was like, get out of here, you street rat. Kicked it, after he got the thought he had anyway. So it's something similar to that where we we see that they're using the masses to bring forth their thing, and once they're used to their point, y'all gonna be like, get up out. I mean, not y'all. The fallen watchers gonna be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And cast them down. But wow.
So let me ask you guys a question. When you just said you was talking about the guy that said that he's related to the Queen of England, he's from. So let me ask you a question.
Hold on. Don't tell me that. I got Tara. We want you on here there. Tell Tameka, you and Tara set it up.
Okay, yeah, I've been telling her I want on here.
I'll do a part 3 next week.
There it is. Ooh, that would be nice.
She laughed.
Look,
No, seriously. You shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have said it. Come on.
Larry, you shouldn't have told him that. He gonna have your name up there, I'm telling you.
I got your email.
So the question I'm trying to ask you guys, so by you saying this guy coming up and he's saying that he is of the bloodline, so Prince Harry, he said he didn't want to be on the throne no more. He left. Huh?
His name is Prince Harry?
That's his name, Harrison. Whatever his name, the youngest one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why am
Harry Potter?
It's Prince Harry, right? So he wanted to leave. So he left
that one chick, right? The actress.
Yeah. That
I'm thinking Prince Charles. Where did I get that from?
That's the daddy name.
It's his father.
Oh, okay.
So he left, and him and his wife left. They began to start talking to Obama and his wife. So that's where they at now. So do you think that Prince William gonna soon leave him and Prince Charles, and this guy gonna come in and just infiltrate the in there?
Well,
Obamacare? No, I'm serious.
I mean,
it was the operation behind COVID.
Oh, really?
That's hashtag Obamagate. That's what is going to be uncovered very, very soon.
Wow.
Yeah, because he in a lot of stuff.
With the United Nations.
Yeah. You ain't noticed they've been showing him behind the scenes with a lot. They even try to get his wife to run for office.
With Bill Gates and with Jeffrey Epstein as well.
Yeah.
Okay, who sent it to me? Was it you or Dan? Lee or Dan sent me something earlier with George Soros, Bill Gates, and Obama on it. And it really drove some information into, like, wow, what are they, what is.
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we sent a lot of stuff between each other, y'all.
So do you think that y'all guys think that can possibly be, what's trying to go on?
Yeah, I think first
to bring forward the Antichrist.
First, this guy, I can't remember his name. I gotta look it up again. But
I can't either.
I think first though, he would have to prove that he is the. He just, I mean, you could say it all day, the rightful king, but how do how do we know you're the rightful king? Of course, DNA has to prove it. You have to it's some other right that they all types of rights that they have, but I guess we'll see in the coming days who emerges, because one thing that these fallen entities want to do is they want worldwide destruction, so they can bring forth their form of order. And we know that their form of order is only disorder. It can never be the order that Yah will bring. It can only be disorder, but they want to rule through tyranny, and this is what communism is. I say communism.
And they have been on it for years, brother.
Yeah, I think if y'all was on here like 4 weeks ago, I don't know, it's a while, but on Thresher Flow, we try to bring facts and information from where senators, presidents, whoever it is that brought forth something. And we were talking about, remember when we were talking about mob law and the land of was it the land of the lawless?
Yeah.
It was
lawless one.
It was something like that. But anyways, we went back and we looked at how that senator, he brought forth and he had like a list of 50 people that had infiltrated the government and was in communism, and they were using, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it, they were using the Democratic Party to infiltrate the government. And if you think about it, guys, every city that you see all these crazy things happening in, and Trump kind of threw it out there, is democratically run by a mayor and a governor.
Yep.
And they predominantly blue states. And so we know what their agenda is. Their agenda is that they want to, they can't stand Trump. And as we were talking about earlier, he already had 25 assassination attempts. That's not being told to you. CNN ain't gonna report that.
Mm-mm.
They're not trying to, they don't want to give us that information. And I don't want to see him see that happen to him. But if that does happen to him, and we see a takeover from the way that they're going about the agenda, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna ensue a world war. A world war, well, a civil war that leads to a world war.
Yeah. Oh man.
There is also a cup that is given to the great prostitute, a double portion of her iniquity. And I think that double portion will, it will be, she's not going to be even aware that is coming. It's a double portion of rain that is to anoint also the earth. I believe that the uncovering of all their crimes, like we were speaking about communism, it is being implemented internationally because they have been uncovered. They were hanging out in the darkness. They were chilling, doing their thing, their wickedness. Nobody would mess with them. And then suddenly, boom, Pizzagate. Boom, Jeffrey Epstein. Boom, all these things that came after shofars that were blown, after word that was preached.
Are they not being as bold as to promote these things on TV now? Like the Jeffrey Epstein thing got a whole series on Netflix.
They have to make the diversion as well.
It's pointing out how he was sleeping with little girls. Now at the time they was keeping this in hush hush when he was going to court and different things about it, right? And didn't want it out there. And you just heard about it here and there, but from certain places, but you wasn't getting the full on truth. And even Netflix, I don't think they'll give you the 100% truth.
I don't think they are too.
But I'm just what I'm pointing at is how every time something like, as soon as the COVID thing happened, what did they do? They brought out Netflix points you in the direction. You know what I mean? They're part of the agenda.
Yeah.
Program the mind, because guess what? Not only do you not have commercials, you can binge watch and it just constantly playing over and over. And
how do you persecute that?
Excuse me?
How do you heal the nations against that?
Yeah, that's a hard one. How
you have Netflix doing all that operation at a PSYOP, on the complete earth.
Right.
And the question is, how do you persecute those who are tempting against the mind of man? You cannot, because you would be tempting against a freedom of expression in a certain way. So it gets into very delicate grounds of, bringing nations into communism and one world order.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know, when it comes down to the whole view of things, we can actually I'm put it like this: there's no point of us stressing about what's going to take place here in November, October, because I'm telling you, September, October, November, that is going to be
Yep.
to remember for 2020. Y'all think that we ain't seen nothing this
Sure
first.
have not.
This it's going to seem like everything de-escalating around August, the middle of September. It's going to pump back up, and by October, they're gonna have it where you vote by phone. You vote. You can't go out, and they're gonna fudge everything. And no, and now listen to this. I'm not sitting up there saying that because y'all is in control of who's chosen. You know what I mean? And I honestly think that Trump will be back in, and before 2021 ends, he will be have another assassination attempt done on him.
Yep, it's gonna be bad. Yeah.
There's been 21 assassinations, or a little bit more than those.
25.
25.
But I think this one. I don't know. I gotta go back. I'm gonna do the math on it. But my teacher, I had an 8th grade teacher, and y'all brought it to my remembrance the other day because I really couldn't stand that English class. It was my homeroom too. So she would, to me, she talked good stuff, but she was just boring because she took forever to get to what she was trying to say. But when she talked about the assassinations and how there was a cycle to it, that just
Did Wesley freeze?
Yeah. So Tameka, it must be something going on out there in North Carolina. Yeah, they both did. What are you seeing, Dan?
Well, I believe that we are in an age that information is coming out, and that the evil ones are no longer undercover. It is a good opportunity for entrepreneurship to thrive and to really offer a good net for everyone to be part of the next season. I think that there's gold opportunity in the future instead of many of the tribulation that is going to be happening. We have been having tribulation, persecution. We've been persecuted even by the holidays that we have forsaken.
Right.
And we have been made more unto him that unto our fleshly desires more and more. So I think that in an age where there's humongous agitation of nations, those who are trailblazers and those who seek for peace and those who spread love, and with that the teachings of Messiah, will have the anointing to endure in the healing of the nations. That's what I think.
Amen. I believe that wholeheartedly, especially going back, to the first 2 commandments. And, you think about his feast days and his holy days, and, the 4th commandment. And, just that premise of love that we show and trying to do these things to his righteousness. Mm-hmm. And not because of fear, but because of our love for our Father and our Yahushua, who has done everything for us. And it's like honoring your folks. We honor him, and we do these things through our actions and how we try to do the right thing, even though we don't we don't ever get it 100% right. We're trying and we're researching it. We're asking to be led by the Spirit. And discernment, is the biggest thing. And like this alien disclosure, all this stuff going on out there, it's about discernment. And that's a personal relationship with Him and knowing His and getting to know their character. There's Brother Wesley.
And that when we had the same issue, I was just like sitting there.
Oh,
they got kicked again. What's going on? That's weird.
Yeah,
I agree with what you were saying. Oh, there they go. Yeah. Hey.
So everybody internet went out.
Nah, Dan stayed up, didn't he?
Yeah, me and Lee were frozen.
It was me this time, bro.
Yeah.
It got me last. You must have said something. I don't know what you said. Oh, I bet it was that Obama thing you were talking.
Yeah, yeah. They were like, okay, they need to shut up.
Yeah.
They talking too much. Too much information.
Cut it.
People are going to hear it. Oh no, they might hear the truth.
Send more Smiths.
Yes.
Oh look, they got frozen again. Oh, there you go.
All right, you know what, guys? We at that time of night. Let's say prayer. Meek, go ahead and say a prayer.
Wow.
Okay. Dan, there you are. Let Brother Dan say the prayer since he's the only one that ain't going out.
Okay.
Father, I thank you very much for the unity and the laughters, the love of the people that join today, brothers and sisters. I cannot find the words to let you know how thankful I am. I pray that all their families, their children, their entire social connection is blessed by the words that are given by the heart that speaks through the mouth and devours all of these enemies that are coming to devour the minds of men. Because through your promise, Father, we become hunters of the hunters. We protect those that are in need through your word, because your word is life and manna that comes from heaven. May we all be infused with the power from above in the name of Emmanuel, of the Prince of Peace, the one that is the Aleph Tav, the Lamb from the beginning and the end. May we all come under him, his wings of salvation, his beautiful trumpets that show us when the time is and make us come together as one Ahad. May we all come together in your love and peace and unity. I pray a blessing of solitude, a blessing of strength, a blessing of fortitude, a rebuilding of the precious city on your precious mount. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, guys. So before we get ready to close, we would like to ask y'all to help share, get these messages out there. And when you hear the sound of the choo-choo train, hit that like button. And sometime soon it'll be changed to a shofar. So we'll be having a shofar blast as we get closer and closer, because the times are getting pretty crazy.
I need to learn how to blow mine.
I brought her a shofar when we got all the Manuel walk around here blowing it like a grown man. We're like, hey man, stop blowing it so much. I mean, he really go in on it. But hallelujah, Brother Dan, we appreciate you always, for being hard with us, coming and joining in. I kind of just hit him at the last minute. Hey man, you want to join up? And I truly appreciate that. We all got each other six. We know what the deal is. And man, to me, this was a good show. I actually think that we could continue to talk about this, because it's a a lot going on, and we dived into the areas that we could actually go into next week about more of it. Hopefully Sean will be back next week. Y'all keep him in prayer. He just had some personal things he was going through. Everybody over in the chat, we ask that y'all just continue to pray for each other and love on one another. And as always, guys, we truly thank y'all for showing up. Lee, Dan, Tameka, y'all got any last words you'd like to share with everybody before we roll out?
I'll wait until last.
Oh, that's what I was trying to do. Oh, okay. Well, I thank everybody for tuning in to this channel. I thank everybody for subscribing and coming to it. And I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Continue to keep each other encouraged in prayer. Continue to strengthen each other in this time of trouble, because we know that the trying of our patient will work. The trying of our patient will work faith in our lives, and it's time that we just continue to seek Yahuwah in everything that we do. And even when he shows dream and vision, continue to seek him. Those who he is speaking to, continue to let everyone know and give them encouraging words, because we truly need encouragement in this season. Because so many of us in the spiritual realm is sensitive. A lot of us are sensitive in the spiritual realm, and we're feeding off all the emotions of the things that are going on around the world right now. So we need to really keep each other in prayer, because our flesh can get weak, but our spirit man still needs to be willing to endure these things that are going on.
Hallelujah.
So we need to continue to keep each other in prayer, because I know today I keep having these headaches, y'all, and y'all told me it was spiritual. And my spirit, I've been so sensitive. Even a lot of times I feel what other people are feeling. So when I feel what other people are feeling or hearing or thinking, it's like I've been hearing people scream. I've been hearing a lot of stuff going on in my ears. So I know that it's in the spiritual realm. So just continue to keep all of us and keep each one, keep each person in prayer, because the times are drawing near for our Messiah to come back, and we truly need to keep each other in prayer. I can't stop saying that.
Amen.
Brother Lee, Brother Dan, Wesley, any last words? Anybody? Lee, do you have any words to say?
Is this look good?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't, if anybody stumbles across this video and you haven't accepted Yahushua HaMashiach as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords for what He's done for you with His death, burial, and resurrection, then now is the time to come forward and seek Him with all of your heart, with all of your being.
That's right.
And that's the only way to the Father, is through Him. So to get to your Creator, you have to go through the Son. And we're going to see His return here not too very far from now. He's going to return in all glory, and it's coming. He's not going to come in. Brother Wesley alluded to it last night. He's not going to be like a lamb.
Oh no.
This is something that all evil will evaporate like it never existed.
Come on now, hallelujah.
He's coming down. Imagine like Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they had the Ark and those ghosts were flying around, and their eyeballs melted and their head and their skin melted off. It's not even going to be that.
Oh, yeah.
And so, it's time to get right, or just get left. You think about that article I sent you guys about how the Father is laughing at what these people are doing. The Father is laughing at the pedophilia, that He's laughing at some of the plans that some of these powerful people have. Soros, the Gates, Obama, I'm going to say it. He's laughing at them, and they're all like putting in His hands only to do His will and to bring judgment, but ultimately bring forth His righteousness. So that's why He laughs in the heavens while these fools do the evil work. It's all for His plan. It's all for His glory.
Hallelujah.
Ooh,
So that's all I got to say about that.
you said a
Amen.
mouthful, brother. Ooh.
Well, what I would like to add to that is that we must not be fearful, regardless of whatever our eyes see with these crazy new politics that they are installing with Dragon Crew in X or SpaceX. Wait until Planet X comes and Dragon Crew explores the Planet X. Be faithful
Right.
unto the end, and know that the king is the king of all kings,
Um,
and Nebuchadnezzar is casted away, and he was shown the vision that he would be destroyed. Why? Because the Watcher, the Holy Watcher, was watching. They're
Right.
trying to build that again, and it is our responsibility to take the gospel to the four corners of the earth and
Mm-hmm.
deliver those who are in chains
yeah.
the
Amen.
freedom, the promise
Oh man,
he
hallelujah.
had.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, as always, guys, I'm just gonna close it out and say we love you. Yahoo loves you. Don't forget to say thank
Thank
you,
you,
Yahusha. Love
love
you
you
guys.
guys. Have a blessed and shalom night.
Shalom,
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shalom,
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.